Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. This is our YouTube Live Show with Tomas De Bruyne and myself, and we're going to be answering questions to do with European Master Certification, or otherwise known as EMC. So I just want to welcome Tomas from Belgium. I can't believe it. We're doing this. You are, what, 9 o'clock over there, and here we are at noon. This is crazy, isn't it?
That is amazing what we can do. Technology is, nowadays, is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome. So should we just go ahead and start with some of these questions? Or you know what I want to do is maybe you can just explain, Tomas, what's already happening with EMC in our cycle 4. We've already started, right, Tomas?
Yes, we did. Well, actually, because EMC is going around the world, we started in Vancouver and it was growing and growing. So we added Latin America and then we added Europe. So in this cycle, this is already cycle 4. We started in Italy in January, that was in Rome. We already started as well in Belgium, that was like in May and April. So it's going already, cycle 4 has already started.
And it's really exciting because we have next coming up EMC Latin America, and it's going to be in Mexico. And what was the date on that, Tomas?
That was in July. So
no, I think it's in June.
June, correct, indeed, in June. And yes, we are looking forward. It's still possible to do a subscription. It's going really well, we have to say that. So we are looking forward to start with that part as well.
Yes, and we have the EMC North America in 2 locations, just like the way we started on the East Coast and West Coast, and that's going to be in October. So that's going to be very exciting as well. So let's start with some of the questions. So how much experience, this is a question that's been asked, how much experience do I need to enroll in the EMC program?
Well, we have both. We have people with lots of experience and we have people with less experience. You need to have some experience. You have to know what is like oasis and what is a flower, of course, what is a rose. And so you need to have the basic experiences. But I have to say, we really start from, I don't say from zero, but the people who has no experience or less experience, it's good because then they are open for a total new way of looking. It's like we're going to explain our insight in European floral process, and the people with a lot of experience, sometimes it's more difficult for them because they always like say, okay, we're going to compare what I do know and with a new theory. So sometimes it's better to leave a little bit from only like those 5 days, a little bit what you know, put it aside, and then you can add it afterwards again. But like I said, both people are welcome, and it is possible because we already had like people who were less experienced, and now they are really experienced. Let us say it like this, and we have people who are really experienced that also are staying on that level. So both are possible.
Excellent. So, and we really noticed that with the last several cycles that the past experiences certainly hasn't hampered those who studied hard and worked hard, and the results at the end was excellent. So next I'm going to ask this next question. How long does it typically take to complete the EMC program?
Well, we go from 8 to 12 months. So if you are in an early part like Italy, they are quite early. Belgium was also quite early. Mexico will be a little bit later. So we go for, because EMC part 3 is all programs together. That means at the minimum 8 months, you need at the minimum 8 months to complete part 2. Later, we're going to explain a little bit about more part 2 because this is a self-practicum. So Belgium and Italy and part of Mexico are coming together in January 2018. So what I want to say is like Belgium has like almost like more than half a year. Italy has almost a year, and Mexico will be really like only like a little 8 months. So it depends on what kind of part you are in the road. The ones from China and the ones from India is also coming, and of course our biggest North Americans, they will be invited in EMC part number 3, and that will be like 2018 September. Well, the end of September. So they will have more time to do the part 2.
Okay, so the next question that was asked, I saw that EMC Part 1 Italy was offered in Italian. Are there any other Part 1 upcoming that is offered in language other than English?
Well, English is our main language. That's and we're just going to use English all over the world because EMC Part 3 is all in English. But like in Bruges, we work with the Russians, and they brought their own translator. So what happened if a larger group is coming from a foreign language and they can't speak English? It's not a problem. Bring your own language or your own translator with you, and then we can do it step by step like this.
Now, in EMC Latin America and Mexico, that will be taught in English and in Spanish, correct?
Yes, correct. Yes, correct. For sure.
So if there's anybody out there that's a Spanish speaking, the one in Mexico is the one to go.
Yes, and it is totally true. And we're going to say even more because last year we had like lots of Mexicans and lots of Latin American people. They brought their own translator as well to EMC Part 3, and we really had a special Spanish-speaking EMC Part 3 because there were too many Spanish-speaking persons. So that's, yes, definitely.
Excellent. So I see that the tuition does not include accommodation. This is in reference to EMC Part 1. Where do students stay when they're attending their Part 1 foundation class?
Well, what we do is like we offer like hotels. We make some suggestions, and of course, it's on the students to choose where she or he wants to stay. But you will get all the information. You will get all the information, not only hotels, but how you travel. You get information about the city. We want to try to get you as much as information you need that you will not find lost, or you don't have to book it all on your own. You're really like informed by our mentors for sure.
And you know what we found last time with EMC North America is there's some clever students that went ahead and looked for Airbnb, and they really did a great job finding some places close by. So that's another option if you're looking for hotel or accommodation and something to share perhaps. I think if you find something like a place with 2 or 3 rooms, maybe you can just get some message out there to other incoming students, and maybe you can share. So it's already starting to be a bit of a community even before the class starts.
That's true, but the only thing what we really advise is, and that is what we learned from the past, is that the more people who stays in a hotel, the better the community. Because what we saw, the people who were like going out after the lesson, they were not really in that energy anymore, that learning energy. Because what we saw in a hotel, people stayed together, people like had a recap in the hotel, or people were joining, or there was a bigger camaraderie if you all stayed in a hotel. But of course, it's up to the people who wants to stay in a hotel, not to the hotel.
You know, I guess I'm not talking so much about EMC Part 3 Bruges, because I think we kind of like to make it a requirement that you stay at the hotel because the camaraderie is so wonderful. I guess I'm talking more about Part 1, the foundation, because that's the question that they're asking. Do we give them a hotel to stay? We really don't. It's really up to you to find where you stay to come to the foundation class. And this is where the Airbnb may apply, because I mean, the students are coming from different places. So I was referring more to Part 1. So.
Okay. But Part 1 is also like, Part 1 we also work with, it's another hotel, it's not a hotel from the Part 3, but it's the same hotel. We found a stunning location in that hotel in the garden. Maybe you can see the photos in the EMC Part 1 in Belgium. And once again, it's a little bit out of the city. So if you want to have a B&B or Airbnb in the city, logistics-wise, everything is possible. It's no problem. But also we experienced the people who stayed, well, actually, like, I think they all stayed at the hotel. And there was like a big, like we said, EMC Part 3, there was a big camaraderie. So I think always it's better to stay together in the same atmosphere.
No, I highly recommend that for EMC Part 3 for sure. Okay, so is there anything I can do to prepare for class after I sign up for EMC Part 1?
Well, that's a good question. I think you can prepare yourself in little bit in nomenclature or a little bit in how do you say, it's like you don't have to prepare yourself. So what do you think? Because for me, it's like you don't have to prepare yourself too much. Be ready, be open, fresh of mind. This is what I want to say. But you really don't have to prepare yourself very, very hard. What do you think?
No, I think that's true. I think you just have to be ready, like you say. But I think if anything, you know, some of the current posts that like Dalia and Anya's putting up from EMC Part 2, you know, some of the designs that's being shown, that sort of thing. I mean, just to look and see what's going on. Nomenclature is really important. I think you just have to be prepared and brace for it. I think you just need to stay excited and be ready to roll, isn't it?
It's totally true, totally true. And also, that's a good idea that you say maybe you should go also the EMC Facebook page and see what's happening and see what is possible, of course. And like if we go like for EMC 3, but we're going to explain after part number 3, you can prepare yourself by seeing and going on a virtual tour in like in the Louvre, because we're going to go to Paris, we're going to do the Louvre. Maybe you can also do, but we're going to explain it more later in EMC number part 2.
Okay, so now I have some questions from Latin America, EMC Latin America. I got a list from them, so I just want to ask a few of those questions. The first one is, what is the difference between AIFD, CFD, and EMC certification?
Well, I'm going to throw that back to you.
Okay, okay, that's fine. Well, I think there's a great deal of difference, actually, because as you know, AIFD is American Institute of Floral Design. Just the key word is American, and where EMC is, the key word is European. So you know that it comes from really two different ways of looking at floral design from a different continent. And I think it has different attitudes and different teaching principles. It has different content. It really, there is a real difference that when you come to study with EMC, that you'll see that you'll learn a whole new language, a whole new way of study. And it gives you another side to floristry, which I think is very, very vital to become more of an international designer, well-trained, well-versed on both sides. So AIFD is a certification program in America, and it's done differently because it really is by testing and being certified, where EMC is a whole educational program that includes the teaching, that allows you to study hard to accomplish and achieve the certification. So that's the real difference. Now, CFD is a level within the AIFD where it's a certified floral designer status, and that it just gives you a early level entry that prepares you for AIFD. So that's really the difference between all those three.
But okay, both can be done. It's not because you do EMC, you don't have to do AIFD. I think you can join them both.
Absolutely. In fact, I think it's really a very good thing. In fact, there's people who have been AIFD and they've decided to do EMC to complete their study so that they have the knowledge from the European perspective, and they have done very well. As well, there's those who tried the EMC first and have gone through that learning first, and that gave them some great preparation to then go after the AIFD, and they've been successful that way. So I think it's interchangeable. I think both are very valuable. Okay, so the next question from Latin America is, if I am already AIFD, what is the added value in becoming EMC? I think we answered that question, didn't we, Tomas?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So the next question, are there other similar certifications worldwide? I need to ask you, Tomas, because you get around.
Yes. Well, you have all kind of certification around the world. But what we try to do is, like with EMC, is, you know what, you have so many large programs who takes like 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years. And we all are so busy. And that's a bit of a problem, time management. Is that, and the fact is, like we said, okay, we're going to write a program that offers, well, we're going to try to offer as much as possible in the EMC in those short times. That's why we have the foundation, that we have the 8 to 12 months self-practicum. You really have to work at home, which is good. because you don't have to travel, you don't have to leave your shop. And then part number 3 is if you really like did all the tasks what we ask you to do, then we have more the part number 3, and that's more the advanced. If I look around the world, of course, well, I can't know anything in the world, but I didn't see it yet in my worldwide tours. That is like a kind of curriculum, like a kind of system of EMC system that we start, okay, with the basics, then with the EMC practical, and then the part 3. But I have to say also what is unique on the EMC part number 2, this is the self-practicum, that is, you are mentored, you are coached by, of course, by you and me, but of course, we added on cycle 4, and this is totally new, and we are very proud of this one, I think, both of us, that we can say we're gonna work with graduates from EMC, and they're gonna help also the new people. So it's not only you and me anymore, because it's getting too big. And what is so important for us is like the quality of the students, the quality of the education. And that is quite unique, if you ask me, that graduates are helping, and of course, still mentored by us, by you and me, helping the new students to move on and to critique their works like 8 to 12 months. That's quite unique. Don't you think so?
I think so. I think that's what I'm most proud of for cycle 4 already. I mean, we just started, but the mentoring, the team is amazing. It's such a solid group of really good graduates that are so keen to want to help with the new students, because they've been through it, the cycle already, and know how difficult it is, and how the support from someone else is so useful. And they've all stepped up. There's some really great people this year. Really totally proud of them. Yeah. Okay, so Colin, I think he has a question from Deb DeBella. Can you, because she wrote in a question, so let's hear that question.
Sure. Let me just grab it. So Deb DeBella asks, I'm looking for a hotel and need to know which address the classes are held at so that I can figure out transportation. There are several addresses listed for City College. She asks, will part 3 ever be held on the west coast of the US or Canada?
Okay, so I'm going to answer that question, because as far as the address for City College is a big campus. And the horticultural, floricultural, that building, which we absolutely love. I mean, we are so grateful for City College of San Francisco to allow us to teach at their campus again. It is on Phelan Street, that's P-H-E-L-A-N. So as far as accommodation, please find something that's fairly close by so you can get to and from easily. And as far as part 3 outside of Europe, I don't think it will happen, because I really think that it is a must for anybody who's studying European study to go to Europe and experience what it's like to go to their wholesalers, what their buying system is, what their product line is. I mean, they need to immerse themselves in that European atmosphere to really understand what it's all about. Don't you think, Tomas? I'm
totally agree with you. By the way, welcome if you come to the San Francisco, and yes, San Francisco is an awesome place, and yes, part 3 will be always in Europe, and I totally support you, Hitomi, in the things you said, totally.
I just absolutely love the wholesales in and around Bruges and Ghent, the ones that we deal with. I mean, it's just an eye-opener, education in itself to go to some of these facilities. So that's the reason why everybody has to experience that one. That's European, right, Tomas?
Well, totally, but it's more than only the wholesalers. It's more like, okay, the atmosphere, because the feedback that we get from the graduates is like being in Bruges. And we always try to stop the lesson at 5 o'clock something, maybe sometimes a bit later, okay, I admit. But the possibility you walk around in Bruges, we go to Paris, there is an extra free day, so you can really feel and be in the atmosphere, in the European atmosphere. And this is really important for the students. As you said, it's a European program, so you should know and you should see what is Europe, totally. But
Absolutely.
also the materials, you're going to see totally different materials, which we don't have in the States, or we don't have in India or China. It's an experience, that's for sure.
Definitely. Okay, so another question from EMC Latin America. How does part 2 work?
That's a long one. Well,
yeah, that's a long explanation.
That's a long
Let's do it
explanation.
a concise version.
I will do my best. I will. Well, the first EMC is all about the foundation. So we're going to explain in the morning, we give theory, in the afternoon, you will have hands-on. But we are convinced, this is what you and me, we decided, is like, you know what, you don't know that you don't enough to continue. So you need a practical time. So what we do, like we said, is at around 8 months to 12 months, you have to practice. So what we're going to do, we're going to give you each month an assignment. Is like the first month we give you a bouquet. So we said we ask you to construct a bouquet, and you have to analyze it. So we have to do it according to the theory that we gave. So the elements and principles of design, of the European design. You have to make it and you have to analyze it. That's one. Month number 2, you have, like, for instance, okay, make a 0 point. 0 point is something that we're going to explain in part 2. So what we do is step by step, we're going to let you grow towards part number 3, which is really important. Besides this, it's like always, like, a chef in the kitchen should know the difference between fish and meat. So that's the same with us. You have to know your botanicals. What we do, we give you like 100, well, actually more. We give you 200 cut flowers, 200 plants, and 100 foliages and branches. And you have to really make a nomenclature, like a book for you. This will be your Bible. That means those items you're going to use in the future to work with. So you have to analyze them, how they grow, from where they come, how the care and handling. So you really have to know your products. The better you know your products, the better you will use them, and the better you will see the potential of use them in a creative way. So this is EMC part 2. It's a long work. We ask a lot of you because we know that, and some people are go away from us in EMC part 2. But it's all about commitment to yourself and the eager to learn and to grow towards EMC part number 3. This is my story in a nutshell. I hope it was
That's a good one.
like...
That's a good one, but and well explained. But just remember, you know, it is a tough time because you're working by yourself, but you have the support system of other fellow students because you'll be following their work as well on the Facebook page, the EMC Part 2. And so you get to even, you get to actually start knowing some of your fellow students in that stage just by the exposure through Facebook. And then we have the support of the new mentorship team, which is going to be, you're going to actually have personal tutors that if you're having problem, you can turn to get answers. And so I think those 8 months or 10 months or whatever that it might end up to be, depending on what part 1 you go to, you're going to have a lot of help, and it's going to be very exciting this year.
It is, because this year, like, we have like people around the world. And can you imagine all those people are coming together in part number 3? And this is what we heard. We said, we know you about Facebook, like you said, but we never saw you. But and then in part 3, everybody starts to meet and everybody starts to join. And you got that beautiful, passionate energy that we always see well, we saw it always in the previous cycles. And that is like, well, I have to say EMC is not only an education platform, but it's more than that. It's like we create a family, we create like a positive-minded group of florists worldwide.
And it's exactly what we need today is a floral community, because we need to think together, work together for the betterment of floristry. And I think EMC, other than the fact that it's that European study, is a very good community and a support that you'll have for the rest of your life. So it's really a wonderful experience. So what do I need to succeed? No, wait a minute here. What part 3 oh, that's another question that we've already answered already. Okay, after graduation, are there any follow-ups similar than the ones offered by AIFD? Let me answer that AIFD part, but then you can answer what what can actually happen. So I guess with AIFD that they have the national symposium every year so that you come together and you get to see programs and whatever. So that's what the AIFD follow-up is. So what would be an EMC follow-up, Tomas?
Well, we decided to do, because that's important. It's not about, okay, you got your graduation and we're going to say goodbye to you and success, but it's more than that. And actually it was from the question, we have to be honest in this one, Hitomi, because the students were asking for more. And that's why we got on the idea, and we are open to listen to the students, to the graduates, of course. And we said, you know what, we're going to do an EMC, we just call it EMC Plus. And those are courses that goes, if you EMC graduate, we can have more courses like, and sharing our experience, what we have. Like we did one like in Atlanta, the EMC event. That was a huge success. And also your EMC summits, that was Trend Summits. I love those ones. We had a really good feedback. So those are like programs that are offered to the EMC graduates, and to continue to learn, to see what's happening, because the market is always changing. It's changing so hard. So, and especially the EMC Trend Summits, we hope to give you some information about what is hot, what kind of colors, what combinations, and so on and so on. Yes, so indeed, it is important for us.
Yeah. So we'll have some things in the works in the future. Maybe EMC Trend Summit in Europe. That would be cool.
That will be cool.
Something to think about.
Yes,
okay.
we do.
So here's a question. I'm a teacher with more than 10 years of experience. What is the added value of an EMC certification to my career? Okay.
Well, first of all, you're never too old to learn. I learn from every day. I read books and I become better and better in what I do. I have to say, if you already have like 10 years experience, well, my respect. But I think it's like what we can add is, like you already said, it's a whole different approach. EMC is more like it's not a workshop, it's not hands-on. EMC is more an insight in floral process, and more an insight in the European floral process. So I think all what we say and we give you from our experience, our knowledge, and from wisdom, I'm sure it will help you to grow in a certain way. Maybe it's not in the total EMC package, but some part of the EMC can give you an insight how you can be better, or how you teach, or how you have to see how the students work, and so on. So there is a potential, and a huge potential, to see new things and to learn new things, and to put them in practice, for sure. And by the way, also we had some students in the past who were like even more than 10 years in the flower shop and teachers, and then we have to hear afterwards that they are like, okay, we changed a little bit the philosophy, we changed the way of teaching. We had it already, so that's a fact.
No, absolutely. So the next question is, can I start this program in the present cycle and finish in the next? Is this permitted?
I think it is. So we agree on that one. We had that question already. You can start doing part one. What we always advise, if you start part one, it's better to do part two as well, because then it's all fresh. So the foundation is still so fresh. So just continue. You have that people who help you, the mentors, you and me gonna help. And for part number two, it's 800 euro. So it is doable to do it in 1 year. If you don't have the time, or financially it's a little bit too close to each other, well, indeed, you can skip a cycle and you can go into cycle in the next cycle. Some people said, okay, this already happened. It's like, let us do part number two again, something like that. Well, of course, you can jump again in, just refresh your mind, and then you're ready for part number three. But it's not needed to do part number two again, but it's recommendable to do it.
No, and I agree as well on that I think it's really a good idea to commit yourself to EMC part one, followed by two. But I think the big question is, for some people, the amount of time that it sometimes takes to do the nomenclature project. And if you have a very, very busy shop and you just can't can't quite get it done, I think you then might look at just extending that time to get the work done so that you get it done right, and then join us in the following cycle for part 3. I think that works very, very well.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. What happens? Okay, wait a minute. Is it appropriate for my family to come to Bruges with me for EMC part 3?
Of course, that is appropriate, but we advise that family comes a little bit on the end of the EMC part number 3 because it's quite intense. And then also what we advise as well, we already said it in the previous question, is that you in the evening are together with your peers and that you share your experience, that you do recap together so that you are not pulling away from your colleagues. But of course it happened already, and then it is so beautiful that the family is coming when the graduation is coming to happen. So the husbands and are on the graduation, that's the last day. That is so beautiful. What do you think?
No, I think it's a good idea, but just make sure that you stay focused on the class and then follow it up with enjoyment. I think it's, I know that in the last cycle, I think some of the spouses arrived a little bit later towards the end. They might join us for the trip to Paris so that they get to spend that time together and then leave the student alone for the final exam, and then they join.
Yes.
It works very well.
Yes.
Okay, so I have another question from EMC group in Latin America. I am an event designer with basic floral knowledge. Would EMC be a program for me?
Well, we already answered that question a little bit. We're going to give you an insight, and one of in part number 3 is the whole day about events. How to create event, how to work with event, how to start with event, working with mood boards, working with presentation, with color boards. Yes, I'm sure it will. It definitely will. Also, like how to work efficient, because you work with a lot of people. You work also like you have to communicate with your client. The better you can communicate, the better you can understand your client, the better you will sell, and the better you will understand your client. So yes, definitely is. And I also do like big events worldwide. And what we do, and also you, Hitomi, is like what we do, we share from the experience. It's not really a pure academic course, EMC, but it's more than that. It's based on the practical side of our floral industry. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think still the foundations have to be strong no matter what area that you really actually practice. And as Tomas mentioned, I mean, he really is a very big event designer. And so you're going to draw from his expertise throughout the whole thing. So I think if you are an event designer and you're thinking, do I need this or not? I think I can only say that it's beneficial for your career for sure. Okay. So are the dates for EMC Part 3 confirmed for 2018?
Well, for part number 3, 2018 will be in the end of January.
Mm-hmm. So that's the new one. That's the new one that is a set of date that's different than the September one.
Yes, indeed, because we have too many students, so we have to split. So in this is the last week from 2018, and then the other one is, well, as we said, Italy, Belgium, and the people who wants to go from Mexico are going to the EMC part number 3 in January 2018. The people from India and China and North America will go to the end of September 2018. And we're going to split into groups.
Yes, and actually, you know, what might also really work is for those who have carried over from previous and want to join. They can join either the January or September. I mean, they can finish up their nomenclature that they're still working on and finish up in January. So that's also a definite group to a possibility. Okay, so is there a host hotel for EMC Part 3 in Bruges?
Yes.
Yeah, we kind of answered that. I know that we're repeating some of the questions, but
it's a good question, because you know what, we were like looking for, like, I don't say a month, but we were looking for a long time to find a perfect hotel. And then In the first year, we did it in a hotel in the middle of the city. The second year, we went to another hotel, but we went back to the first hotel because it's huge, it's big. We've got a beautiful like classroom. It's in the middle of the center. We got really good rates for the students, for the room students. So yes, there is a hostel, and then also we give you all the information how to get it. They are very friendly. We have like the ability to have like breakfast over there. We have the ability to have dinner. So you don't have to take dinner in a hotel, but it's possible. Some people don't want to go to the hotel. So we have been thinking about, and you know what we have to say, EMC is getting better and better because of our experiences. And this is what we hear, the comments of the students, also what we see, what we learn from. So yes, we definitely go for a hotel who's the best for the students.
Yes, I agree. So I think I'm coming down to the final question. Are there any other questions, Colin?
Yeah, we have some
Oh,
questions from the live audience. I was just waiting for a chance to
squeeze in.
Yeah. First, this may have been answered already, but Shelley Galloway asked, I passed part 1 and did not complete part 2 due to health. Should I retake part 1 for review?
I think, well, did you want to answer?
Yes, no, you do. Tomas?
Okay, Shelley, welcome. I think you can to refresh, because there's always a little additional new content, and just reviewing fresh is always good. But we can also supply you with the new text, the new edition, so that you can read it to see if you feel that you'd like to retake part 1, but definitely put your full effort on part 2. And you know, really get ready for that, because if you've already done it, you could already be starting to work on that. So I think that's probably the best advice I have. What do you think, Tomas?
I agree, totally. I totally agree, yes.
Okay, excellent. So next question.
I have a kind of a question that ties into that. Susan McCleary asks, when does 2017 part 2 begin?
Well, it depends on what kind of where you are and what kind of part in the country you are. Like Italy started already in February. Belgium already started this month. Mexico will start, if Mexico is in June, it will start on the 1st of August. And then we have like North America, we will going to start the 1st of December. So it depends on the place you are.
It's all done in the same sequence for every one of the location, so that you have the same assignments, but some of them, because they start early, they get to start on their part 2 early. The advantage for those that are following is they can kind of watch what's happening and what's already, you know, going on with some of the other locations, so that they can be prepared for it. I think that's the best advice I have on that one. Okay, is there any other question?
Yep, there's a few more questions.
Okay, good, excellent.
Rosalinda Garcia asked, do you recommend any book to read before going to the course? Thank you, Hitomi and Tomas.
So Tomas.
Well, we answered already that question a little bit. It's like not really. Like I said, you can go to the EMC Facebook just to see what's happening, but not really. Like be ready for the EMC part number 1, and of course you can read some books about nomenclature, because that is always something new. When I teach on the EMC part number 1, we're going to start with Latin names. That's the first thing, and some people are looking like, what is he saying? Well, I'm using the Latin names, so, and you will have to learn them for sure. So what kind of book? Well, on our EMC Facebook page, we recommend lots of books. So maybe that's the way to look at it, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think maybe just start collecting some nomenclature, like just a botanical name, those kind of books. I think that would be a very good start. Excellent. Yeah. Okay, next.
I'll just mention we have a few comments from past graduates of the EMC program.
Oh, good. Excellent.
Yoli Laguerre says, hello guys, EMC has already affected my career as a designer in such a positive way. Best life experience.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Let me see. We have another one. Greg Lum says, many great questions. Thank you, Tomas and Hitomi, for all the lifelong friends I have made through EMC program. And then Dominique Houlet says, EMC is a must for every dedicated floral designer who wishes to move to a much higher level. I cannot say enough of how proud I am to have taken the course.
Okay.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Thank you for sharing this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we have one more email question that came in this morning.
Excellent. Excellent.
It's from Laura from Romania. She says she's interested in the EMC schedule. She has a flower shop and attended a floral course with Tomas in Romania. She had intended to come to Italy in January, but couldn't. So she's interested in when the next part 1 EMC in Europe will be and where.
Well, the next one will be that is its next cycle. So now we are in cycle 4. Cycle 5 starts in 2019. So that will be that will be like in March 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think I'll close with a final question because I think everybody wants to know the answer to this one. The question is, what if I don't pass the final exam in EMC Part 3? What happens? That's a good question, right, Tomas?
That's a good question. Hui. But what happened? We discussed that one, right, Hitomi? And we said, okay, what to do with and what we already experienced is some people were not just succeeded, but just below what we have, like the percentage-wise. So we said, okay, we have to give them a second chance, right? Maybe you can explain the step, how we're going to do it step by step, or how we did it already step by step, Hitomi? Yes,
I can do that. I think, first of all, we've been very impressed with the passing rate because we saw in cycle 3 how hard these students work. I have never seen students work so hard in my life. In the hotel rooms, in the lobbies, they're all gathering in little pods and they're studying like crazy. What a sight to see. And so they basically do well. But we do have a set standard. It's a high standard. We want to keep it a good standard because otherwise it wouldn't be worth getting. So in certain cases, whether it's a nomenclature test or whether it's part of the hands-on portion, or, you know, we sort of break it down to different parts because we have exam on the nomenclature, we have exam to actual like hands-on. We did a hand-tied bouquet, hands-on, and they had to do it in front of the group. So it was a sort of a performance test as well. And then we have a theory exam. We have a interpretive art segment, a design that you have to do. And then you have to also present it orally in front of Tomas and I in a closed room. And then there's a couple other categories that may change from cycle to cycle, so that there's a lot of testing involved. And if any of the score falls below a standard that we set, we just simply set up to retest. And sometimes we actually retest there if they're ready to do it there again. We can do that. We also set up an opportunity to retest after you get home, and by way of, you know, like video streaming, you know, if it's something that has to be done in front of us, or if it's a certain assignment where it's a written exam, it's a rewrite, a nomenclature, it's a rewrite. We set it up so that it's just sort of one-on-one, and so that we get it done. So there's plenty of opportunity we set up for retests so that you can become successful, no problem. So, Tomas, what do you think?
Well,
to wrap it up, what do you think?
Well, I think if you have a really drive to become better, because that's for sure. If you are open to learn, open to become better, if you have a positive mindset, if you are passionate about flowers, if you want to be in a group with peers, surrounded by peers who have the same attitude, the same passion, and so on, I think EMC is a fantastic program for you. If you are said, okay, you know what, I don't have to do anything, and I will see what happens. Well, it's better not to come, because what we ask, like we already said, is like we ask a commitment from you, and indeed EMC part, it is hard. EMC part 2 is hard. EMC part 3 is hard. But once you get through it, then you don't get your certification. You really deserve your certification. And this is what we saw. And also, like, EMC is like, if you want to get out your 4 walls in your flower shop and you want to see new things, you want to experience, and you want to be updated by the new trends and new techniques and what's happening and new colors and new combinations, I think the EMC is a perfect program, just fit for you.
Perfect, Tomas. I just want to wrap it up by saying the most exciting thing that I've experienced in this last year really was at the very end, after the exam, after you and I came out of the oral test part, having spoken to, I think, almost 40 students about their work. And then we were about to go and evaluate and judge and score their bridal bouquet and their flowers to wear category. And we walked into that room and we were just wowed by the work. We just couldn't believe how awesome they have become. We remember them from part 1, their start, because we remember the work of all these people from the beginning. And then to see that at the end, after all their hard work, was just so heartwarming. That's what I live for. That's what a teacher loves. And so with that, I felt like it is a wonderful program. So thank you, Tomas. I really enjoy this. This conversation is great. And, enjoy all the people that's out there listening in, hoping to join us, or they've been with us before and we are already friends and family. Thank you for joining us, because this has been a wonderful 1 hour of discussion. Thank you so much, Tomas.
Okay, couldn't agree better than that. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you. Bye-bye.